Cathie Wood is undoubtedly one of the widespread investing personalities as of proper now. Her fashion is unusual, however, she proved that you just don't at all times have to observe the standard path to success. Cathie Wood, who based the funding firm Ark put money into 2014, focuses on disruptive and modern firms. It's a mode of development investing that's not at all times well received, particularly in comparison with the confirmed, conventional means of worth investing. In the course of the early years, she had to make use of her personal cash to assist her firm. Right now, her Ark Make Investments ETFs are the perfect performing funds in 2019 and 2020. She additionally grew her funds from $5 billion to $50 billion in 2020. Cathie's fashion is definitely fairly wise, irrespective of the way it might look dangerous. She is what individuals would name a contrarian. In investing, contrarians do the other of what the bulk does. Profitable traders are contrarians, comparable to Warren Buffett and Peter Lynch. They do what the lots don't. Discover one thing that fell via the crack. A gifted stockpicker at all times does this. Earlier than Cathie Wood, there was Peter Lynch, one of the profitable fund managers within the earlier period. Within the 80s, Chrysler was on the point of the chapter. It wanted an authorities bailout, it was struggling to compete with Japanese automakers. Peter Lynch picked the corporate's shares. Everybody else thought he was not making any sense. Chrysler turned out to be top of the line and most worthwhile funding strikes he ever made. In Cathie's case, it was Tesla. This time technicalities are totally different, but it surely's just about identical. Tesla wasn't making any revenue. Wall Road argued that legacy automakers would quickly outcompete Tesla. The corporate's inventory value was too risky. Each Cathie and Peter did the identical factor. They decide one thing different individuals weren't enthusiastic about. They're too insignificant, too dangerous, or too unimaginable. In an interview, Cathie mentioned, "I discovered that when analysts and portfolio managers dismiss one thing as being too small or one thing that isn't going to suit neatly into any portfolio, these are normally actual alternatives to shock on the upside." Aside from Tesla, this precept additionally led Cathie to choose a seemingly boring area like genomic analysis and DNA sequencing. She went via all types of sectors that haven't had a lot of consideration or those having too many doubters. At all times studying and open to new concepts. Cathie Wood comes from a financial background. But when she talks about firms in her portfolio, you may however surprise how she is so educated in lots of techs and science-related subjects. She is curious and open-minded. Within the finance world, we've got this well-known saying, many merchants are outdated, many are daring, however, few are outdated and daring. This saying implies decreased threat urge for food as somebody turns into extra skilled within the finance business. Cathie is amongst this choose few. She is the definition of outdated and daring. She went to territories removed from her circle of competence. There are just a few amongst her generations that are very well versed about Bitcoin. She is considered one of them, even as much as the technical issues of blockchain. She talked about her expertise with Amazon within the early 2000s, how its enterprise mannequin was incomprehensible amongst her friends. Within the early 2000s, everybody was nonetheless nursing their wounds from the dot-com bubble. A web inventory like Amazon was certain to keep away from. Tech is a figment of Wall Road creativeness, remarked Cathie in an interview with Bloomberg. She referred to how her friends can't and gained it perceive one thing that wasn't a match of their enterprise textbooks. She refused to have such a mindset, and proceed to coach herself so she understands higher. Prepare your mind to assume exponentially. What I love probably the most about Cathie Wood is that she appears to naturally assume in an exponential means. Exponential pondering is the other of linear pondering, which people are inclined to do as a result of our mind is wired to that, and society situations is to assume in a linear means, too. Picture for put up. Illustration about exponential versus linear pondering. Cathie doesn't care about little, short-term particulars like how an organization missed the estimated earnings in a sure quarter. As an alternative, she thinks far forward sooner or later. She photos development in a matter of years and even many years. Retains eyes on the prize, which has at all times been her motto. Suppose in a 5-year timeframe. Quick-term volatility doesn't concern her. She doesn't goal for 10%. 12 months or barely forward of the S&P 500 index development. Explosive return is what she's after. Her shoppers are joyful when she offers them a 35.73% return in 2019 and a whopping 152.52% in 2020, which means above what an S&P 500 index fund would provide you with. A non-traditional course for selecting firms to speculate. Ark Investments defined completely their funding course on their website, however, let me summarize it for you. In brief, it was in contrast to what you'll see in different fund administration firms. Cathie introduces a system referred to as open analysis. It means Ark makes investments don't simply get their data from conventional sources. They give the impression of being into the individuals within the business they're investing in to hunt insights. These persons are what they name theme builders. Additionally, they collect data via crowdsourcing on social media platforms. Theme builders are thought leaders from academia, assumed tanks, startups, enterprise capital, and established firms. Ark Investments website. This course makes it potential for them to see a difficulty from many various views. It doesn't make Cathie enclosed within the Wall Road mindset. Peter Lynch in his ebook One Up on Wall Road referred to as finance professionals homogeneous people. There aren't many various concepts going around Wall Road. Everybody thinks the identical means, studying the identical newspaper, and appears on the similar Bloomberg terminal. It's like being inside an echo chamber. Definitely, Cathie is making an attempt to not match into this typical Wall Road narrative. Keep in mind, a very good investor is at all times a contrarian. Minimize via the noise. Over the course of her Ark Investments profession, Cathie met lots of people who don't consider her. It began along with her mates. My mates thought I used to be going to fail. Then it was her business friends, the entire Wall Road, and finally, the overall individuals, particularly on the web. When she dispatched a letter to Tesla and put a value goal of $4,000 on the corporate's shares in August 2018, individuals actually referred to as her loopy. It didn't assist as effectively that she's a girl, a minority on Wall Road. Misogynistic feedback had been additionally widespread. Being a topic of ridicule isn't simple. Think about the imposter syndrome that may happen due to it. Nevertheless, it's been superb how Cathie dealt with all of the naysayers of her concepts. She managed to remain swish all through. Even now that she's confirmed to achieve success, she stays humble. Her secret is a powerful conviction towards her concept. However, I by no means thought I used to be going to fail. There was an enormous unmet want, and that's one of the best ways to start out an enterprise. She has unrelenting confidence in her skill that it's virtually envious. I believe that's what you get after being many years within the business and had huge numerous monitor data and experiences backing you up. She knew what she's doing. She additionally makes use of individuals' doubts as to some type of motivation. We had been standing as much as what we thought was proper. We couldn't consider that nobody needed to hearken to this. That they actually simply made enjoyable of it, and it made me really feel much more strongly about Tesla as a result of what we noticed occurring over time because the naysayers had been rising, was Tesla's boundaries to entry had been growing. Cathie additionally discovered methods to take care of naysayers on social media, like Twitter. It's easy, she merely doesn't have a look at feedback. I didn't learn the Twitter world of hate notes to me. She merely focuses and stays on the monitor along with her purpose. Keep in mind, short-term noises are unimportant. She retains her eyes on the prize. Bull case and bear case. Cathie is definitely fairly conservative along with her expectations. When she predicted a $4,000 Tesla, she set a 5 years value goal. The truth that the value is reached a few years early is one other matter. Every time Ark Investments rolled out an analysis report, they at all times offered the bull case and the bear case. You might assume, along with her unrelenting optimism, she doesn't care about dangers. However, she is definitely extra practical. In 2021, she expects corrections. She bought a few of Tesla's shares on the prime to purchase some shares which are underappreciated for the time being. She does contemplate dangers. Nevertheless, it might not the type of threat different analysts and fund managers would assume. Dangerous, in response to her, is when an organization stops innovating. Firms who's shopping for again their shares, leveraging their steadiness sheets, paying dividends, leveraging their steadiness sheets, they're going to be the losers. It's fascinating to dig deep into Cathie Wood's knowledge in investing. Trying into her conviction and focus, and the way well-versed she is in regards to the firms she is investing in, we will perceive that her success wasn't simply pure luck, as many would nonetheless say even to at the present time. She is at all times on the prime of her toes, at all times in search of alternatives. She offers an opportunity to areas that others doubt. She can be an affected person as a substitute for wanting success rapidly. These are winners' mindsets not distinctive to Cathie Wood, however moderately it's also possible to spot in different profitable traders, and what it's best to undertake if you wish to observe their path of success.